What is blockchain technology? I've searched through all the online space from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and nobody have been able to break blockchain down to a layman understanding. As a matter of fact, many people think that blockchain is you bringing blocks and chaining them together, but no, it's far from that. And the few persons who are in the blockchain or crypto space don't even understand what blockchain is, all because they want to make money first. And some of them are beginning to confuse blockchain for Bitcoin and Bitcoin for blockchain. But in today's video, I'll be explaining blockchain in such a way that even your grandmother in the village will understand. And above all, I will be revealing various potential opportunities that can amass you wealth in the future. If you are ready, then let's get down to this video. Now, before we start fully, there is a question at the end of this video and might be attached to a prize. If you are ready, follow me to the end of this video. Let's get down. Imagine a small village where trade is done in a traditional way. Each time a person buys or sells something, the transaction is recorded in a big book kept by the village elder. Everyone trusts this elder because he has always been honest, but one day he started favoring some people by tampering the record and erasing debt for his friends. Now, the villagers soon realized they needed a better system, the one that doesn't rely on a single person but fair, transparent, and cannot be manipulated. So they come up with this idea. Instead of one person keeping the records, everyone in the village gets a copy of that same book. Every time a trade happens, everyone writes it down. In that way, if someone tries to cheat by changing or altering the record, the rest of the villagers will have a proof to hold the person responsible. This way, the system remains fair and trusted. This is the basic example of blockchain and how it works, but in this case in a digital form. You see, centralization has dealt with the people that corruption has erupted to the point that we don't know how to go about it, but blockchain came to solve it. So in a simple term, blockchain is a transparent, unchangeable, decentralized digital book that records transactions across many computers. It is a way to ensure trust, accountability, and security in a world where these qualities are more important than ever. And here are 4 key features of blockchain. One is security. In blockchain, each record is encrypted and linked to the previous one. This chain of transaction is visible to everyone in the network to see, but altering any record requires changing all the previous record, which is nearly impossible for hackers to manipulate the system. Take the story of the village people keeping the record for themselves. If one alters, then you have to alter all the record or all the copy by every other person. Likely impossible, right? 2, transparency. Every record in the blockchain is visible to everyone in that network to see. While identity can remain anonymous, all the transaction history is open for verification. This transparency ensures accountability and makes it nearly impossible for anyone to cheat the system because we are going to see everything that is happening in this network. And the third one is decentralization. You see, unlike the traditional system where a single authority like the elder in the village, just like bank and government, manage the record of transactions, blockchain distributes the ledger, the book, across multiple computers, nodes, or across people. Each participant has a copy of that particular ledger. No one can tamper. These are the features that makes up a blockchain. And the fourth one is immutability. It means that every transaction on any record that is in the blockchain can never be changed by anyone, and fraud cannot have its way to the blockchain. This is why blockchain is so important in today's world. You see, blockchain has revolutionized many industries beyond just cryptocurrency, and here is why. Let's talk about finance. It enables faster transaction in a more transparent and more secure way, and at the same time without a middleman or intermediaries. 2, we can use blockchain in the supply chain because it ensures transparency by tracking goods from the origin to the destination. And also in the healthcare industry, blockchain helps to secure secure patients' records, and enhance data integrity. The fourth one I have is real estate. We know the fraud happening in the real estate sector. Blockchain will help to simplify property transaction and reduce this fraud, because remember I said everything has to be open, right? And the fifth one I have, which I've always been talking about, is the voting system. Blockchain will create a tamper-proof election process, and not just this, and so many other industry or organizations that you can think of. Blockchain can be used provided it has a way of keeping record of what is happening in that industry. So let's talk about types of blockchain. Here are four main types of blockchain. One, public blockchain. This particular one is fully decentralized. This blockchain is open to anyone who wants to participate. It is decentralized and transparent, meaning that anyone can join the network. Bitcoin and Ethereum are examples of blockchain, public blockchain. We have some little challenge. They can have a slower transaction or recording, and of course requires more computational power to handle. And then number two is private blockchain. This one is centralized. These blockchain are restricted to specific members of the network administrators. They are often used by business enterprise, banking sectors, the supply chain I talked about. And one of the examples of this particular private blockchain is Hyperledger. Then number three is consortium blockchain. I can say this particular one is partially decentralized and is also known as federated blockchains. These are controlled by a group of organizations rather than a single one. They strike a balance between the openness of the public and the control of the private blockchain. So it's just like the banking sector trying to keep some of the private things without you seeing everything, but you can actually see all your transactions, but you cannot see others, or you can see some private documents of the bank, right? And the fourth one is hybrid blockchain. This particular one is a mix of public and private blockchain. It combines those two elements. Some are part of public while others requires permission. They allow who can see and access the information on the blockchain, also allowing verification from the decentralized network. Now, each type of this blockchain has its own advantages and of course disadvantages, but the choice between them depends on the specific need and the goals of the user or the organizations involved. I can choose to keep my stuff private, my family data private. It shouldn't be open, so I choose the type of blockchain I want to go into. So that should be private blockchain. Now we've talked about the importance of blockchain and the types of blockchain. Let's talk about how it works. The thing here is that understanding how blockchain works to a layman who doesn't know or understand how programming languages work, it's going to be complex, but I'll try as much as possible to break it down in a simple step-by-step. Step one, transaction initiation. If you send a transaction, this could be anything sending from cryptocurrency like Bitcoin to another user, or recording a contract, or even casting a vote in an election, right? You've sent it. Then step two is transaction verification. Once a transaction is initiated, it needs to be verified in the blockchain network. This verification is done by the network of computers, also known as nodes. This node confirms the details of the transaction, including the validity of the transaction details and the status of that participant. And that takes us to three. When the transaction is verified, it has to be added to a block. Now, once a transaction is verified, it is grouped with other verified transactions into a block. Now, each block has a certain capacity, and once that capacity is reached, a new block is created. That takes us to step 4. Before a block will be added to a chain, it needs to be given a unique identifier known as cryptographic hash. This hash is created from the transaction data in the block and is unique to that particular block. The block also contains the hash of the previous block in that chain, creating a link between the blocks. This is where the term blockchain comes from. So once a particular block is completed, they are all going to be linked together after the cryptographic hash has been created. And the last one is consensus. The block is now added to the chain, forming a chain of blocks. Block, right? But before it can be accepted, the nodes in that network needs to reach an agreement that this block is valid. This is done through a process known as mining. In some blockchain like Bitcoin, nodes solve complex mathematical problem called proof of work, but other blockchains use different consensus mechanisms like proof of stake. And then the last part is the completion. Once a consensus or agreement is reached, the block is added to the chain and the transaction is now completed. The blockchain is now updated and everyone in the network can see the new blockchain and the transaction it contains. In a simple time, when you send a coin to someone, remember there is a confirmation process it takes before it gets to the other person's wallet or the person can withdraw, right? That process is what I just explained. It has to be verified, create a block, add to a block, generate a hash ID for it before the person receives. That process is what I just explained. So the last part is, can blockchain be hacked? You see, a lot of people are going to say, no, blockchain can never be hacked. But calm down. You see, while blockchain is designed to be secure and tamper resistant, it is not entirely immune to hacking. However, successful hacking a blockchain is extremely difficult and requires significant resources. One potential vulnerability in the blockchain is the 51% attack. Let me explain what 51% attack is. A 51% attack happens when a single entity or a group controls more than 50% of the blockchain mining power or validation stake, what I explained previously. This gives them the unfair control over the network, allowing them to 1. Double spend coin. Spending the same cryptocurrency twice, they are in control. 2. Prevent new transaction from being confirmed. 3. Reverse transaction, that is disrupting the whole blockchain. And then 3. Stop miners or validators from adding new blocks. So once 51 attack happens, just know that 50% of the miners are going to make decisions. But another potential vulnerability is the smart contract that runs on the blockchain. If there is a bug in the code of a smart contract, it could be exploited by hackers. This was the infamous DAO hack on the Ethereum that happened in 2016. It is so important to know that while blockchain are secure, you should also know that these are the chances that it can be hacked. And beyond that, applications and wallets that interact with blockchain can also be vulnerable to hacking. So most recorded hack has happened on the applications that interact on the blockchain rather than the blockchain itself, just like the one that happened on Bybit February 2025. Now, I'll wrap up by informing you that the potential of blockchain is far beyond the use case of the cryptocurrency that we see today. It has the power to disrupt traditional system in a way that many might not comprehend yet. You see, with blockchain, Web3 is born, people can now have control over their own data and content. Blockchain kills the central system that has rendered many of us powerless and poor. In fact, blockchain is taking power from the few central authorities back to the masses. The elites, the government, back to the masses. If you're a Nigerian, let's take a look at the case of the government and Nigeria today. Blockchain can solve that issue. The future is in your hands, but do you think blockchain is the future? Leave your comment below. Question of the day: which blockchain hosts the biggest number of meme coin between 2023 to 2025? If you have the answer, please drop that in the comment and I might be picking someone to reward. But if you find this video interesting, please do like, share, comment. My name is Gibeni. Until we meet again next time.